Before streaming, before binge-watching, and before gritty reboots, there was a team of misfit soldiers who drove a custom van and solved problems with explosions, plans, and charm. The A-Team became a defining force of 80s television, blending wild action with larger-than-life personalities. But behind the scenes, the chaos was real. From sudden cast swaps to unscripted departures, from on-set tension to banned episodes, these secrets reveal a very different story. Let's uncover the wild truth behind the A-Team, 25 surprising facts you were never supposed to know. Number 1. The first face was replaced overnight. Something felt off when fans compared the pilot episode to the rest of the series. And it wasn't just the pacing. The character known as Face, the team's smooth-talking con man, looked completely different. That's because he was originally played by Tim Dunnigan, who was suddenly replaced after just one appearance. Producers felt Dunnigan appeared too young to convincingly portray a battle-hardened Vietnam veteran. Without any on-screen explanation, he was quietly swapped out for Dirk Benedict, whose older and more experienced look fit the role better. The change was so abrupt that some early viewers didn't even notice until years later. And while Dunnigan's performance wasn't necessarily flawed, the studio believed the visual mismatch could hurt the show's believability. Thankfully for fans, Benedict's charm clicked almost instantly, setting the tone for one of the most iconic TV teams of the decade. Number 2, Peppard and Mr. T couldn't stand each other. Behind the explosive action and team camaraderie, the atmosphere off-camera was far from harmonious. Tension simmered between two of the show's biggest personalities, and it became one of television's worst-kept secrets. Despite playing teammates, George Peppard and Mr. T often refused to speak to each other unless the cameras were rolling. The conflict was rooted in more than just clashing egos. Peppard, a classically trained actor, reportedly felt overshadowed by Mr. T's rising fame and merchandising appeal. Meanwhile, Mr. T grew frustrated with what he saw as arrogance from his co-star. Their feud was so intense that castmate Dirk Benedict often acted as the middleman to keep scenes on track. Producers tried to maintain a professional environment, but the divide was obvious on set. While their characters worked as a seamless unit on screen, reality told a different story. And yet, that very tension may have helped fuel the intensity and grit that made the A-Team so unforgettable. Number 3. Murdoch was nearly fired by NBC. At first, network executives weren't sure what to make of the team's zaniest member. The unpredictable pilot known as Howling Mad Murdoch brought comic chaos to nearly every mission. But not everyone thought it was a good fit. In fact, NBC almost removed the character entirely before the show gained momentum. Behind the scenes, executives worried Murdoch's eccentric behavior might alienate viewers. They feared his offbeat energy would make the show feel too silly for its action-packed premise. Dwight Schultz, who played Murdoch, was reportedly on thin ice in the early days of production. What saved him wasn't a rewrite or a rebrand, it was fan mail. Viewers loved Murdoch's madcap energy and sent in a flood of letters begging the network to keep him. Schultz's role was secured, and Murdoch went on to become one of the most beloved and quotable characters in the A-Team. Number 4. The van had 8 body doubles. Fans instantly recognized the black and red striped van as a symbol of the team's daring adventures. But what most never knew is that this iconic vehicle wasn't just one van, it was a fleet. In total, 8 different vans were used throughout the show's run, each with a specific purpose. Some were outfitted for stunts, others for interior shots, and a few were just for visual angles. The wear and tear of action scenes meant vans were regularly damaged or destroyed, requiring quick replacements to keep up with filming. This approach created more than a few continuity hiccups. Sharp-eyed viewers noticed slight differences between scenes, like missing red stripes, reversed logos, or even entirely different wheel designs. Despite the inconsistencies, the van's presence remained strong and became as essential to the A-Team as any character in the cast. Number 5. I Pity the Fool was never in the show. The catchphrase became legendary, so much so that it's nearly impossible to mention the A-Team without hearing it in your head. But here's the twist. The line, "I pity the fool," was never actually spoken on the show. It became famous thanks to Mr. T, but not because of his role as B.A. Baracus. The origin of the quote comes from Rocky III, where Mr. T played the fierce Clubber Lang. That film, released a year before the A-Team premiered, introduced the world to the phrase that would follow Mr. T for the rest of his career. Because the line was so closely associated with him, fans often assumed it appeared in the series. It didn't, but that didn't stop the phrase from becoming the unofficial motto of B.A. Baracus. The misunderstanding stuck, and today most people still believe it came straight from the A-Team. Number 6. The violence was a cartoon illusion. Explosions, gunfire, car crashes, the A-Team had it all. But despite the endless action, something was always missing. Consequences. Week after week, chaos erupted on screen, yet no one ever seemed to get seriously hurt. And that wasn't by accident. It was part of the show's design. Producers wanted to deliver thrills without crossing the line into disturbing content. So, they created a unique formula. Over-the-top stunts, lots of noise, but barely a scratch. Even when vehicles flipped or buildings exploded, the bad guys would crawl out dazed, but unharmed. This cartoonish approach to violence was both a creative choice and a response to increasing pressure from parents, groups, and censors. It let the show stay exciting while keeping its TV rating family-friendly. Critics sometimes mocked it, but for millions of fans, the blend of mayhem and safety became part of the A-Team's unmistakable charm. Number 7. Germany banned dozens of episodes. In some parts of the world, the show's explosive charm didn't go over so smoothly. In Germany, the A-Team ran into serious trouble with censors who viewed the program as too glorifying of violence. The result? A large portion of the series was pulled from television for years. Out of the show's 98 episodes, German broadcasters initially refused to air 72 of them. Authorities believed the action-packed storylines, though bloodless, still promoted aggression in a way that wasn't suitable for audiences, especially younger viewers. It wasn't just the physical mayhem that raised concerns. The idea of solving problems with elaborate traps, shootouts, and car flips didn't sit well with regulators who preferred more restrained programming. Over time, some episodes made it to air in edited form, but the initial ban became a symbol of how differently the A-Team was received around the globe. Number 8. Season 5 broke the formula and the ratings. After 4 seasons of runaway success, things started to shift, and not in a good way. As ratings dipped, NBC panicked and made drastic changes for Season 5. The result was a bold retooling that aimed to revive the show, but ended up alienating its fan base. The new storyline had the team captured by the government, and then offered freedom in exchange for working covert missions for the CIA. Gone was the formula of helping underdogs while dodging military police. Instead, a darker, more structured tone took over, complete with new characters like General Stockwell and tech expert Frankie Santana. Fans weren't impressed. The chemistry felt off, the missions too scripted, and the heart of the A-Team seemed lost. Ratings continued to slide, and the changes weren't enough to save the show. What was meant to reboot the series ultimately marked the beginning of the end. Number 9. The theme song was TV royalty. Few TV themes can match the instant recognition of the A-Team's opening music. From the first pounding drum beat to the brass-heavy melody, it perfectly captured the show's mix of danger, confidence, and fun. But what fans might not know is that the composer behind it was already a TV legend. Mike Post, the musical genius who crafted the theme, had an impressive track record. He also created unforgettable openings for other hits like Magnum P.I., Hill Street Blues, and later, Law & Order. With the A-Team, he delivered another timeless score that elevated every explosion and car chase. The theme wasn't just background noise, it became a pop culture anthem. It was used in commercials, parodies, and even marching band performances. Its sharp rhythm and military-style flair turned a simple tune into a rallying cry for 1980s action fans everywhere. Number 10. Cameos included a Sylon and Cowboy George. If you blinked, you might have missed some of the most unexpected cameos in the A-Team. The show loved sneaking in Easter eggs and odd guest appearances that still baffle fans today. One of the most famous blink and you'll miss it moments came straight from science fiction. In the opening credits, a Cylon from Battlestar Galactica casually strolls past Face at Universal Studios. It was an inside joke. Dirk Benedict had starred in Battlestar Galactica, and the moment served as a playful nod to his past. It was short, strange, and totally deliberate. But the real curveball came in the form of Boy George. The pop icon guest starred in an episode titled Cowboy George, playing himself, sort of. In a hilariously mismatched booking, his character replaces a country act at a rough bar. It was one of the show's wildest and most memorable stunt castings. Number 11. Mr. T's jewelry weighed nearly 40 pounds. The gold chains were more than just fashion. They were part of the legend. Mr. T's signature look wasn't created by wardrobe designers. It came straight from the man himself, and it was heavy in every sense of the word. During the height of the A-Team, Mr. T was known for wearing between 35 and 40 pounds of gold chains while filming. These weren't props. They were real, flashy, and incredibly heavy. Each piece had its own story, collected from fans, friends, and travels. The weight wasn't just physical, it became symbolic. For Mr. T, the gold represented strength, confidence, and identity. But wearing it came with a cost. It caused neck and back strain, and sometimes even slowed down action scenes. Still, the look became iconic, turning Mr. T into a walking symbol of 80s power and personality. Number 12. Mr. T gave up gold after a tragedy. For years, Mr. T's gold chains were a symbol of his bold personality. But after a national tragedy, he made a personal decision that stunned fans. He stopped wearing them entirely. It wasn't a fashion statement, it was a show of respect. In the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina, Mr. T visited affected communities and witnessed the devastation firsthand. Seeing so many families who had lost everything deeply moved him. He later said that continuing to wear flashy gold in the face of such suffering felt wrong. Instead, he traded his signature chains for red, white, and blue attire, a quiet tribute to the resilience of the people he met. The shift marked a new chapter in his life, showing that beneath the tough exterior was someone deeply in touch with compassion. It was one of the few times his image changed, and it spoke louder than gold ever could. Number 13. Hannibal's cigars were no prop. The ever-present cigar clenched between Hannibal's teeth wasn't just a character quirk, it was real. George Peppard, who played the team's fearless leader, wasn't faking it for the camera. He was a genuine cigar smoker and insisted on using the real thing on set. The idea to make cigars a key part of Hannibal's personality came directly from Peppard himself. He believed it added authority, charm, and a devil-may-care swagger to the character. The writers agreed, and soon it became a signature trait, one that fans still remember with every "I love it when a plan comes together." But the cigars weren't just for show. Peppard brought his own stash and smoked them throughout filming, giving Hannibal's cool demeanor an extra layer of authenticity. It was one of those rare moments where an actor's real-life habits seamlessly merged with the character they played. Number 14. The show's concept was born from pressure. Sometimes great TV is born not from inspiration, but from sheer network panic. That's exactly how the A-Team came to life. NBC executives were desperate for a hit and gave creators Stephen J. Cannell and Frank Lupo a demanding brief. Combine The Dirty Dozen, Hill Street Blues, and Mad Max, and make Mr. T the star. It was a wild creative challenge. The network wanted military action, ensemble dynamics, and a gritty post-apocalyptic flair, all rolled into one show. On top of that, they insisted the project be turned around quickly. Cannell and Lupo took the pressure and ran with it. What emerged was a mashup unlike anything else on TV. The rogue team of ex-soldiers for hire captured America's imagination almost immediately. It was stylish, over the top, and full of heart. The fact that it was built under pressure only makes its enduring success even more impressive. Number 15. The show debuted after the Super Bowl. Timing is everything in television, and the A-Team got a launch pad most shows only dream about. NBC aired the show's pilot episode immediately following the 1983 Super Bowl, one of the most watched TV events of the year. The move wasn't just strategic, it was genius. With millions already tuned in, the pilot had a massive built-in audience. The result? A 26.4% audience share right out of the gate. Viewers who were expecting post-game recaps were instead introduced to high-octane action, colorful characters, and that unforgettable van. The premiere's success wasn't just a fluke, it helped cement the A-Team as a household name almost overnight. NBC's gamble paid off, showing that sometimes the right time slot can be just as important as the content itself. Number 16. Only 2 cast members were real veterans. Despite the show's military backdrop and non-stop action, most of the A-Team cast had never actually served in the armed forces. Surprisingly, only 2 actors brought real-life military experience to their roles, George Peppard and Mr. T. Peppard, who played Hannibal, served in the United States Marine Corps before pursuing acting. His background gave him a natural command presence that added authenticity to the role of a tactical leader. Off-screen, he was known for bringing discipline and seriousness to the set. Mr. T, the face of B.A. Baracus, also had military roots. He enlisted in the U.S. Army and quickly earned a reputation for toughness and determination. His no-nonsense energy was more than performance. It was real-life grit shaped by experience. While the rest of the team played soldiers, these 2 brought genuine history to their characters. Number 17. Hannibal was based on a real soldier. The cool-headed confidence and tactical brilliance of Colonel John Hannibal Smith wasn't purely fictional. His character was actually inspired by a real-life military legend, Lieutenant Colonel James Bo Gritz, one of the most decorated Green Berets in U.S. history. Gritz led daring missions in Vietnam and became known for his unconventional strategies and fearless attitude. After the war, he gained attention for launching personal efforts to rescue American POWs believed to still be held in Southeast Asia. His blend of military precision and rogue heroism made him the perfect template for a TV action leader. The influence was subtle but clear. Like Hannibal, Gritz operated on instinct, believed in loyalty, and wasn't afraid to bend the rules to do what was right. While the show added flair and catchphrases, the core of the character came from someone who had truly lived on the edge. Number 18. Murdoch's full name was never revealed. He was unpredictable, hilarious, and often the wild card that saved the day. But there's one thing fans of HM, Howling Mad, Murdoch never got to learn: what the HM actually stood for. Throughout the entire run of the A-Team, his full name was never revealed. Writers intentionally kept it a mystery, adding to the character's quirky and enigmatic persona. Murdoch lived in a psychiatric hospital, talked to invisible friends, and piloted anything with wings. Not knowing his full name just added another layer to the chaos he brought to every mission. Even official scripts and credits stuck with the initials. Fans speculated for years. Was it Harold Michael? Henry Max? Theories abound, but no answer was ever confirmed. In a show filled with explosions and gadgets, one of its biggest secrets was hidden in plain sight. Number 19. Mr. T once demanded a helicopter exit. Long days, hot sets, and clashing personalities were all part of filming the A-Team, but sometimes even Mr. T had his limits. During the shooting of an episode aboard a cruise ship, the heat and chaos reportedly pushed him to the edge. What happened next became cast and crew legend. Frustrated and overheated, Mr. T called it quits right in the middle of production. But he didn't just walk off set. He arranged for a helicopter to come and pick him up, flying away from the location in dramatic fashion. The cast and crew were left stunned and scrambling to adjust the shoot. While the moment was never officially confirmed by NBC, multiple accounts from those on set say it really happened. For a show known for wild stunts and escapes, this real-life exit felt like something straight out of the script, and only Mr. T could pull it off. Number 20. Some toys got the van's color wrong. For fans of the A-Team, the black and red van was more than just a vehicle. It was practically the 5th team member. Its sleek lines, red stripe, and unmistakable presence became iconic. But when it came time to turn that van into merchandise, a surprising detail often got overlooked. Many toy versions of the van depicted it as entirely black. In reality, the upper half of the van was a deep gray, not black at all. The contrast was subtle on screen, but noticeable in person. This oversight wasn't just a minor detail. It helped fuel a kind of Mandela effect among fans who remembered it differently. Collectors and diehard fans still debate the van's true color scheme today. It's a reminder that sometimes the smallest inconsistencies, especially when tied to nostalgia, can become part of a show's larger mythos. In this case, the van became legendary, even in the wrong shade. Number 21, Hulk Hogan turned down a role. He was already a wrestling superstar and had appeared in a few episodes, but Hulk Hogan was once offered something much bigger, a recurring role on the A-Team. Surprisingly, he said no. At the time, producers saw Hogan as the perfect fit to boost the show's already massive popularity. He had charisma, a tough guy image, and a built-in fan base. But according to behind-the-scenes reports, Hogan declined the offer, worried that being a regular might mean stepping into an off-screen feud. The tension between Mr. T and George Peppard was well known. Hogan, caught in the middle, didn't want to referee their clashes week after week, so instead of becoming a series regular, he settled for memorable guest appearances and left the main team intact. Number 22. A fake machine gun sound fooled everyone. Explosions, chase scenes, and endless rounds of gunfire, the A-Team delivered action in spades. But despite the intensity, the show kept things safer than they appeared. Those rapid-fire shootouts, they weren't coming from real automatic weapons. The primary guns used on the show were Ruger Mini 14s, which are semi-automatic rifles. But with skilled trigger fingers and clever sound editing, they were made to sound like full-auto machine guns. The audio department added fast-paced, repetitive gunfire in post-production, fooling viewers into believing the team was wielding high-powered weapons. The illusion was so effective that many fans still swear they saw machine guns firing endlessly. In reality, it was just smart TV magic. One more way the show created big-screen spectacle on a small-screen budget. Number 23, the show was canceled mid-finale. The final season of the A-Team didn't just struggle, it unraveled. Episodes aired out of order, story arcs were dropped, and NBC quietly pulled the plug before the series could wrap things up properly. By the time Season 5 aired, ratings had dipped and the format had changed drastically. Instead of independent mercenaries, the team worked for a covert government agency, and fans didn't warm to the new direction. NBC didn't even purchase the last 9 episodes, effectively canceling the show mid-story. Adding a wink to the chaos, one of Murdoch's t-shirts in a late episode read, "Almost Finny," a misspelled hint that even the cast knew the end was near. While the finale aired, it was far from a proper send-off, leaving loyal fans with an abrupt and unsatisfying goodbye. Number 24. Critics mocked the Looney Tunes violence. Cars flipped, buildings exploded, and bullets flew in nearly every episode of the A-Team. But somehow, no one ever got seriously hurt. That was part of the show's signature style, but it didn't sit well with everyone. Critics often mocked the show's cartoonish action, comparing it to Looney Tunes. Villains were thrown through windows or caught in blasts, only to reappear dazed but unharmed. It was an intentional creative decision. The producers wanted action without consequences, violence without tragedy. While the media dismissed it as unrealistic, fans embraced the absurdity. The predictable chaos became part of the fun, a promise that no matter how wild things got, everyone would walk away. It was escapism, pure and simple, and for millions of viewers, that was exactly the point. Number 25, the 2010 movie missed the point. Decades after the original series ended, the A-Team returned in 2010 with a big-budget movie reboot. On paper, it had everything. Stars like Liam Neeson and Bradley Cooper, over-the-top stunts, and nods to the original show. But for longtime fans, something essential was missing. The reboot leaned heavily into gritty action and darker tones, trading the TV show's lighthearted fun for explosions and serious combat. Mr. T famously refused to appear, explaining that the film lacked the humor and heart that made the original beloved. Despite its glossy production and A-list cast, the movie failed to capture the magic. Critics and fans agreed. It was all flash, no soul. While it introduced the A-Team to a new generation, it also served as a reminder that style can't replace spirit. The A-Team wasn't just 4 guys in a van. It was a blueprint for what TV could be, when action met heart and absurdity. It gave us explosive stunts, unforgettable characters, and moments that made us laugh, cheer, and salute. But what made it legendary was what we never saw. The battles backstage, the actors' personal choices, the cultural waves it created. From hidden cameos to real-life conflict, the A-Team remains a chaotic, beloved slice of 1980s magic. Like the video and subscribe if you love uncovering retro TV legends. And comment below, which A-Team secret surprised you most?